Our Massacres, today we are in Hangberg and we are going to go up to the community of Hangberg to find out where the city wants to temporarily relocate Janola after he was evicted and his home was torn down. We are also going to take a walk through the community to see what the living standards and situations are currently in Hangberg. Let's go.
Today's site visit is a proposed relocation of Janola Phillips, the person whose home they evicted him from. The city is tabled an offer, and we could not in good conscience just accept it because, we need to entertain the offer in all seriousness, but we've also got grave concerns about the area that they're sending him to. This is why we've invited the media. This is why we've invited the South African Human Rights Commission. Let what you see determine whether those are livable human conditions and see if what the community is claiming is true or not true. You understand? So the exercise today is basically a drop in the ocean of what they've been doing to this community for years, and people will get to see that firsthand and then make their own decision on whether our community is treated fairly or not, because we could go on all day and we could give you every violation that has been happening here in the last 10-15 years, you understand, but it wouldn't make any difference if the public doesn't see.
In 2010 we had protests here about land issues. We're 10 years down the line and we're still fighting about, our constitutional right to have housing. That's a constitutional right, and we understand that our government says, or the constitution says, depending on the resources. But here you see the city of Cape Town sending back over R1 billion in housing budget year on year. So surely we are being violated, but those rights are not being protected by anybody. We also feel that the South African Human Rights Commission is not assisting us in the manner in which we believe that they can or they should. Whenever we have these type of incidents, we call, but we also understand that there's a need for them to be capacitated, so that they are able to deal with all these type of situations, because it's not just there. But we feel that we tend to be forgotten because we're not, our issues aren't as high profile, or it's not receiving as much media. There's the tree just below that. That piece of land is also supposed to be utilized for housing. People were moved, those people that we saw there in little blockies though, were moved from the site over here. And they were put over there because they were told that they were going to build houses there.
So they were moved in the meantime until the houses were done.
But now what has come to light is that is going to be leased to the Hangberg Peace and Mediation Forum for a recycling depot. Which is not what we need within our community.
Yeah.
I think the Human Rights Commission's mandate is to promote, protect and monitor human rights in the Republic of South Africa. And since I've been appointed, I'm not from the Western Cape, I'm from the Western Cape, but I'm nationally, so I work in other provinces as well. But the challenge in this province is so immense. And so like today as we speak, there's a group of people that I managed to monitor a situation between the municipality of Theewaterskloof and Bot River. And we're signing an MOU now with them in that area, in which again it's a housing issue. So wherever we can, we try and make sure that the people's issues are addressed. And what is seen in COVID-19, particularly in this Cape as well, you basically see two worlds. You see a very rich world with castles, and it's a very poor world with shacks. And the Human Rights Commission recognized it and says the inequality in this country needs to be addressed, and you can't address it by just doing brutal force against people. You have to sit down and listen to people and say, yes, what's it that we can do, how can we correct it, and so on.
How certain groups of people are treated, you understand, because I'm never ever going to believe that if this situation existed in the valley, that the DA or the City of Cape Town, I don't want to politicize it because it's a community issue, but they would have allowed the situation to regress to where our situation has regressed, And from history and because of being a resident of Hangberg, I know which areas get serviced. And I can guarantee you that what has happened here and what is happening here will never and has never happened And it paints an ugly picture, especially 26 years into democracy. It paints one of the most horrible pictures, that a government could be so satisfied with delivering substandard service to one community because of their financial status, because of how we're seen, because of how they've painted us, and give such brilliant service to a community that is so much more, you know. And Nelson Mandela's words come to mind when I think of it, is that he was asked in an interview one day about his affiliation to Fidel Castro, and you know, he promptly answered by saying that people make the mistake of thinking that political analysts make the mistake of thinking that their enemies are our enemies. You understand? In this case, Iowa and the Valley is not our enemies. You understand? We are not the Valley's enemies. You understand? Because you'd see people from the Valley here now in support. You understand? But the minute a man changes his principles according to who he's dealing with, that sort of person cannot lead. And this is what you find happening here now at the moment, is that from community to community, their principles change. And in so doing, their service levels change according to who they're dealing with.
These are the scenes that have played out in the Hangberg community of Hangberg. Tempers flared when the city of Cape Town sent in law enforcement officers to break down the home of Janola Phillips on a cold winter's day. All this while the country has been declared a state of disaster, and the Disaster Management Act clearly prohibits evictions during the lockdown period.
Okay, those structures were demolished last week. They were incomplete and unoccupied. They were rebuilt again.
So once again, the city of Cape Town has shown how heartless and ruthless it can be. JP Smith's tag has come in to break down Janola's courts again. Janola has moved in and he occupied this place. And as you can see, this place was broken down with furniture inside. Kassies, gooi goed te drom. The place was really demolished, and they just came down to break down one place. There's the bed. The bed is still made up, as you can see. Daar's die kooi. En soos julle kan sien, die plek was occupied. So that is basically what it is. As you can see, there's even a light in the place. So
as you can see, this is my place. I live in a house of 9 people. We live 9 people in a house. My mother, my 6 siblings. There's 3 children also involved. That's my sister's children. I tried to put up a house for me and my brother so we can move out of there. We only have 1 room in that house. only one room. My brother sleeps in the living room, and we. There's no better place for us. We can't even build a place, and they can't break it down. I use this is second-hand material. This isn't even out of the hardware. We had to collect money, build this place, and this is what they do. They didn't even break it down nicely. They just took it off like with dogs. Because I was standing there, I didn't even do anything to them. They shot me because I was in the way of them. They shot me so that my people can run away. You see, I didn't do anything to them. I didn't swear. I didn't push them. They pushed me down here. You see the sand? They pushed me down there also because I was in their way. They treated us like dogs this morning, and this is what they did. We were halfway done.
What's your name?
My name is Philip.
The City of Cape Town sent 2 representatives here today. However, members of the media are not allowed to film the mediation meeting between them, Janola Phillips, and his legal team. They were also not available for comment. We will, however, be allowed to visit and record at the proposed relocation site once the meeting concluded. We learned here today that the plot allocated as compensation for Janola has already been allocated to one of the survivors of the 2018 Hangberg fire. Community members have raised concerns about whether Janola will be able to extend his potential city-provided 3x3 structure, as the peace accord has gotten an interdict against the community prohibiting any extensions. Some other concerns are that if this plot is given to Janola, where will the other 3 families go that are still living in the community hall waiting for their housing since the 2018 fire? The fact remains that if the city continues with its proposal to give Janola this plot, it creates new problems with the 3 families who this plot has been promised to 2 years ago. As we walk through the community of Hangberg, where many families have been forced to move without any proper sanitation, we see that they are capable of building their own homes, structures that in many aspects are better or at least more conducive to the surroundings. Water from the mountain behind it often flows right through these homes. Many community members have been forced to elevate their homes to avoid this. Previous homes that have been built by the city has historically not been able to withstand the harsh weather conditions here. Community activists believe the City of Cape Town is failing its constitutional mandate here, and in doing so are also violating the Constitution, Chapter 7, Section 152, Subsection 1, which says it has to provide a democratic and accountable government for local communities. It has to ensure the provision of services to communities in a sustainable manner. It has to promote social and economic development, and it has to promote a safe and healthy environment, and it has to encourage the involvement of communities and community organizations in the matters of local government. There is a Hangberg Peace Accord in place, which is contained in a court order granted by the Cape High Court in 2011. This was concluded for the purposes of ensuring unlawful evictions do not take place, but that the parties, the city and the community, attempt to resolve disputes amicably. But this has not been the case. The aftermath of these evictions during the nationwide lockdown leaves these people without a home in the cold. Many here believe that the city has made empty promises and the community has stopped waiting.
It's disgusting. Ons het dit al verklaar by die communities hieronder en maar niemand stel eintlik belang in, man. Jy sien dit bly is heeltyd so en se kinders is hygienic, man, you see.
Ridiculous, and I'm sick of it. They're not taking note of us. This municipality in this area is corrupt. Really, there's real corruption going on, and I would like them also to investigate that, because I've been living here for 24 years. I've got 6 kids of my own, and now I've become a grandmother again. 4 grandchildren. That's my grandson is living with me. This is my daughter. We are 10 people in this 1-bedroom house. We don't have proper bathroom facilities, only a toilet pot. You can go inside my house if you think I'm lying. That's all we've got. We don't have showers, we don't have baths. I've been bathing in a little batchie ever since I was born.
Nou die weer moet weet hoe die mense lewe. in die ghetto in ons is die aboriginal mense. Hier is een van die Khoi kinders. Ek is 'n fighter. Ek is 'n Khoi kind. Ek is aboriginal Khoi. My stam is Khoi. Verstaan? Ons fight al die jare al vir die plek al. Ons kry nog altyd niks. Mama,